Oh, hi there, and welcome to my 10.1.7 Marksmanship Hunter guide. It's time for the hunt. Let's go into the stats. The stat you want to look for as a Marksmanship Hunter is actually very sim dependent because at different item levels, your preferred stat might change, but for a quick and dirty rule of thumb as to what you want to focus on is main stat primarily. Of your secondary stats, you want to focus on haste and crit, as these are slightly above mastery and versatility. Having a mixed set of stats could actually be more beneficial for you as a marksmanship hunter. Haste is basically just so that we can cast our abilities fast, and crits is just doubling our damage. Now mastery is quite interesting for marksmanship hunter because it actually increases the range of all your abilities while also giving your damage increase. And versatility is primarily a defensive stat at this point. Now going over the talents, they will as always be linked down below, both the current tier set and what you would play if you don't have the current tier set. But I will go through what the current build style is and what we want to focus on. Going over the class tree, the damage nodes that we will pick up is of course kill shot, which we will start with. This is our execute. This will then have 25% increased crit damage, and then we don't really get any defensive nodes until we get to the last 3 rows, where we will pick up master marksman so that our critical strikes cause our targets to bleed for 15% additional damage over 6 seconds. We then pick up serpent sting. However, for the most part we will actually not be using serpent sting due to a talent in the Spec tree. However, we will still pick up poison injection so that serpent sting's damage applies the poison to a target, stacking 10 times, and our aim shot consumes all available stacks for X amount of additional nature damage. Then we also pick up Arctic Bowler so that our aim shot has a chance to fling an Arctic Bowler at our target, dealing some damage, slowing the target by 20%, and strikes up to 5 targets in total. We also pick up Keen Eyesight, just 4% passive crit chance, and then we pick up Death Chakram, which helps us with our focus, but more importantly it increases the damage we deal to targets we've hit with Death Chakram by 15%. Our last DPS node is going to be Serrated Shots, making Serpent Sting and bleed damage have increased value at 20%, and this is then doubled against targets in execute range. Now utility wise, hunters are fine. Defensively they are quite squishy, and mobility wise they are absolutely excellent. So let's go over some of those talents. We pick up Concussive Shot in order to gain Trailblazer. This is just passive movement speed when we are not attacking anything. We also pick up Post Haste so that Disengage grants us 50% movement speed for 4 seconds after we've landed. We also pick up our Interrupt, and we also pick up Misdirection so that we can transfer all of our threat generated onto tanks. Now normally this isn't a huge issue simply because tanks have a lot of innate threat multipliers, so our threat is very little comparatively to those. However, in certain AoE situations you can snap aggro if you do not use misdirection. Please be aware of that. We then pick up Natural Mending so that every 12 focus we spend reduce the remaining cooldown of our heal by 1 second. We also pick up Born to be Wild, reducing the cooldown of Aspect of the Cheetah or Sprint, Survival of the Fittest, our general defensive, and Aspect of the Turtle, which is our immunity. Then of course we will pick up Survival of the Fittest, and we will then increase the damage reduction by an additional 20%. Then we pick up Rejuvenating Wind, so we gain 8% max HP, and Acceleration now also heals for an additional 16% of our max HP. We then pick up Binding Shot, which is an AoE stun if targets move out of the circle after it's been cast, because then we pick up Hunter's Avoidance. This makes it so that we take 6% less damage from area of effect attacks, which is most rate damage. And lastly, we pick up Pathfinding, increasing our movement speed by 6% baseline. Now in Mythic Plus, you will pick up Tar Trap, Tranq Shot, even Camouflage in most builds for extra utility. Tar Trap is just an AoE slow, Tranq Shot is a enraged and magic remove, and Camouflage is a stealth for 1 minute on a 1 minute CD, but while you are stealth, you will heal for 2% of your max HP every 1 second. In the single target Spec talent tree with the current tier set bonus, there will be a focus on Death Blow and Kill Shot. So in the Spec tree we pick up Aim Shot, this is our main damage. Then we pick up Crack Shot, reducing the focus cost of our filler spell Arcane Shot. Then we pick up Rapid Fire. This is one of our most important abilities for numerous reasons. It generates focus and it also grants us haste. Then we pick up Streamline in order to gain this 30% faster cast on Aim Shot, and also increasing the damage of Rapid Fire. Then we pick up Indie Rhythm, so when Rapid Fire fully finished channeling, we gain 12% haste for 6 seconds. chance. We then pick up Lone Wolf, increasing our damage by 10% when we do not have an active pet. Then we pick up Hunter's Knowledge, making it so aim shot and rapid fire has 10% increased crit chance. Now with the tier set, we will be picking up Killer Accuracy, increasing the crit chance of kill shot. We will then pick up Death Blow, so that aim shot and rapid fire has a chance to grant a free use of our kill shot, regardless of target HP. And then we will pick up Race of Fragments, so that after gaining Death Blow, our next kill shot will deal additional damage and also become a dot on 6 targets in total. So your main target on 5 additional targets, but 25% of the damage dealt. Then we pick up Careful Aim. This increases the aim shot damage bonus to targets above 70% HP. Then we pick up Focused Aim shot and rapid fire damage increased by 10%. Tactical Reload. Aim shot and rapid fire cooldown is reduced by 10%. Then we pick up Steady Focus. This is a maintenance buff where we're using Steady Shot twice in a row. It gives us 8% haste for 15 seconds. Then we pick up True Shot, which is our cooldown. During this cooldown, the cooldown of aim shot and rapid fire has been reduced by 70%, and we also cast aim shot 50% faster. And while True Shot is active, we generate 50% additional focus. The rest is from a different talent. We then pick up Eagle Talent's True Focus, making so True Shot lasts 3 seconds longer, and also reduces the focus cost of Arcane Shot, Chimera Shot, Multi-Shot, and Aim Shot. We then pick up Unerring Vision, so that while True Shot is active, we gain 1% crit chance and 2% crit damage every second, stacking up to 10 times. We then also pick up Lock and Load, make it so every auto attack has a chance to give us a free and instant aim shot. Then we pick up Serpent Stalker's Trickery, making it so aim shot also fires a Serpent Sting at the primary target. This is how we're going to apply Serpent Sting and thereby gaining the latent poison. We then pick up Bullseye. So when we deal damage to a target below 20% HP, we gain 1% crit chance for 6 seconds, stacking up to 30 times, if the target lives long enough, that is. Then we pick up Legacy of the Windrunners. So whenever we shoot an aim shot, we then get 4 wind arrows. That deals a bunch of damage. However, more importantly, every 24 wind arrows we fired, we generate 30 focus and generate 1 charge of aim shot. And finally, we pick up Windrunner's Guidance, so that each wind arrow we fire has a 3% chance to grant us 6% of True Shot, which is our cooldown. Now going into the AoE/Mythic Plus build, there are only some slight changes that we will be taking. We will lose out on Killer Accuracy, Steady Focus, and Focused Aim in order to pick up Multi-Shot, just a flat AoE damage. Then we pick up Trick Shots, so that when Multi-Shot hits 3 or more targets, our next aim shot or rapid fire will ricochet and hitting up to 5 additional targets for 70% of normal damage. Then we pick up Bullet Storm, so that for each additional target our rapid fire or aim shot ricochets to, increases the damage of multi-shot by 7% for 15 seconds, stacking up to 10 times. Gaining a new stack does not refresh the duration. Then we pick up Salvo, so that our next multi-shot or volley now also applies explosive shot to up to 2 targets hit. Now this you want to macro into the last ability, which is Volley. It's a 45-second cooldown that you basically just use on cooldown for an area of effect, and for as long as Volley is going, you have trick shots, so you don't need to use multi-shot in order to gain trick shots. The core of Marksman is actually quite simple. You want to make sure that you always have an aim shot charge going, so you will never be on 2 charges. You want to make sure that you're using rapid fire as often as possible without overcapping focus. Outside of those 2, you try to fill with Arcane Shot when you're above 55 focus, and if you're not, well then you just Steady Shot. In the current iteration, Steady Shot is not talented to actually give us focus back, so outside of maintaining our haste buff, we don't really care about Steady Shot. It's just our filler damage if we have nothing else to do. Other than that, it's about using your True Shot as much as possible and utilizing Death Chakram as often as possible as well, but make sure that you always have Death Chakram ready before going into your next True Shot. Now, due to the wind arrows and having chances to gain True Shot, we can actually gain a lot of burst periodically, but our damage is very variable, so sometimes we do great damage, other times we do mediocre damage, and that's just the nature of the beast. As we mentioned, we are taking Lone Wolf to gain the 10% increased damage. However, we will also gain access to Fortitude of the Bear, which is a 2-minute cooldown, simply just an increase to our maximum HP by 20%, and it instantly heals us for 20% 20% of our HP as well. So we actually gain an additional defensive by simply being a Marksman Hunter, but we do lose out on the pet utility. So for the opener, there are two things that you will note. That is, I'm going to not have Explosive Shot nor Volley talented for the single target, but I will explain when you were supposed to use them in the opener if you have them spec. So around 2.3 seconds before the fight starts, you want to precast aim shot. So you go aim shot, and then explosive shot if you had it, death chakram, volley if you had it, true shot, then aim shot, rapid fire. And if you have access to execute, then you would execute. At this point, you're just following the base rotation, which is just making sure you never oversit on your charges of an aim shot and making sure that you have rapid fire going. If you get your execute proc, you will of course prioritize that. But outside of that, it's basically just going into your base rotation after your opener. Now for the base rotation, you want to make sure that you keep up your steady shot buff. If you have execute, you want to prioritize getting execute off. Make sure once again you're not sitting on 2 charges of aim shot, and remember to use rapid fire. And that's honestly all there is to it. Now your Marksmanship Hunter opening sequence in multi-target is quite similar to a single target, however there are some slight changes to it. So you want precast explosive shot, death chakram, volley, true shot, aim shot, rapid fire, and then multi-shot to go back into another aim shot rotation. Throughout your opener and throughout your AoE priority, you just want to use kill shot on cooldown if you have it. And then it's just utilizing your trick shots whenever you have them. It's quite similar to how a Fury Warrior does its AoE, where you're basically still focusing on your single target. However, you will just multi-shot before you use one of your big single target abilities. And that's basically it. You use explosive shot on cooldown throughout your rotation, you use death chakram and volley, and then fit in aim shot, executes whenever you can. It's sometimes worth it to sit on a single stack of your precise shots to gain trick shots. It's not a huge damage difference, but for instance now I just use my trick shots, but I still have an empowered multi-shot, so I can use that to empower my next aim shot, which in turn I can now use to generate another aim shot, trick shot, use multi-shot and rapid fire, and still have an empowered multi-shot for my next aim shot. And when you're low on focus, which you can happen in AoE, you use steady shot. As you noticed, I'm not getting the haste buff, however I'm getting a lot more focus back, because we're actually talenting into gaining focus with steady shot in AoE. But yeah, that's your AoE opener and multi-target priority. Before I'm gonna go into the outro, just some useful tips and tricks regarding Marksmanship Hunters. You can have a true shot macro where you macro in good unused trinkets, like Iridia's Fragment or stuff like that. You will always use unused with your true shots anyway. You can always use a mouse over macro for Misdirection. I have one linked here if you want to use it. And of course a mouse over macro for your Tranq shot, similar to Beastmaster Hunter. But let's say you're fighting this training dummy right here, right? And this guy right next to it is enraged, so you can just use Tranq shot without losing your target. But yeah, I think that's all I had to say about Marksmanship Hunter. It's a little more complex than Beastmaster Hunter, but it also has the potential of doing more damage. However, you need to learn the mechanics of a fight so you can like use your mobility and make sure that during your true shot you can stand still for as long as possible and all that shenanigans. But all in all, it's a fun spec. It's very similar to like a Thrust DK. It's like big numbers every time you want to, and it's just hammering like aim shot into targets, and that feels great. Hopefully you'll subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. The redheaded stepchild that is survival. For now, bye!